Thursday, FSU. Based off our overview, it looks like we are in for a steamy weekend. Definitely reminding us more of those September and early October days rather than those turkey days and Christmas days that are going to be approaching our time. So for throughout the show, definitely a lot going on around the nation. We have used to have a major hurricane. Epsilon is now a Category 1, and Bermuda is under a tropical storm warning. There is a severe potential in the plains with some hail and possibly some tornadoes and snow in Minneapolis. But luckily, in our area, nothing too crazy. The only thing you have to worry about is sunburns and dehydration. If you're going out to the beach or going out to a local high school football game, as I always talk about, that is what we have to deal with. It's as you head to the weekend, it's just going to be a great time to walk around campus, just get outdoors, and that is what we are going to focus on at FSU, is enjoying our reputation for being in the sun, and hopefully watching a fun game up at Louisville this weekend for those big FSU fans. And so now we're going to pass it off to our wall with David.
Thanks, Hayden. Yes, I'm looking forward to that game. I believe we'll get another win going off to Louisville to play against the Cardinals. We'll have to see. The weather's going to be on the cool side there. We'll take a look at the radar here in the southeast. And currently you see most of the southeast is clear of any kind of rain or any other kind of precipitation at that, because winter is coming. And the only place we find precipitation is down here in Florida, which is associated with a tropical wave moving across the state. We're going to zoom in on Miami. You can see Miami currently now is clear from the rain, kind of in a dry slot right here. But as you move up into Palm Beach and Martin County and out to Okeechobee County, you see those showers and storms moving towards the west-northwest. Here in Central Florida near Daytona, you see showers moving onshore and inland over into the Ocala area, just north of Orlando here. Orlando get a little bit of rain earlier, so if you were at Disney, you probably needed an umbrella. Here in Georgia, you see showers, a few showers and a couple storms moving onshore as the storms move off to the west. And here you see southern Texas, Corpus Christi, just some scattered showers out over the Gulf of Mexico. Currently, local temperatures look really good for the southeast, anywhere from Nashville, 83 degrees, and Montgomery, 84. And Florida, even Florida has comfortable temperatures today. Not on the hot side, more on the mild side with Tampa at 83 degrees. However, it is still muggy. You see Tampa, 67-degree dew point due to that tropical wave bringing really thick, moist tropical air mass over them, which will move out over the next couple of days. As you move further north, dew points are a little bit on the high side, but more tolerable as you get to Nashville with 60-degree dew point. The winds around the southeast, a little gusty out here near Jackson at 10 miles per hour, New Orleans at 14 miles per hour out of the east, and Florida has some winds in the 10-mile-per-hour range, 5-mile-per-hour range, out of the east, and generally out of the east and northeast. Over the next 48 hours, you can see that tropical wave is going to move off into the Gulf. It'll still leave some cloud cover behind over the peninsula of Florida, but the showers chances should decrease as we go in time. And we're going to look at, going backwards, cool. Tonight's lows around the southeast, you can see Nashville 66 degrees, Tallahassee 70 degrees, and then get down into Tampa 74 degrees. Tomorrow's highs around the southeast. On the comfortable side, if you're in Montgomery, Alabama, 84 degrees, or Nashville with a high of 81. But you get down into Florida, looks like it gets muggy again at Tampa with a temperature of 87 degrees. I'm going to hand it off to Riley now, who's going to talk about the local forecast.
Yes, well, it is your first local forecast of the night here at FSU Weather, and if we take a look at Doak Campbell Stadium right now, it is a pretty warm, hot even, 86 degrees out there. Nice shot of a cloud out there right over Doak. Nice to see, a nice pretty sight as always. If we take a look at our current local temperatures out there, we're seeing temperatures in the mid-80s over much of the region, although some areas like down the shore out in Apalachicola at 83 degrees, even up towards Madison and Valdosta in the low 80s. But even though it's in the 80s, it is still very muggy out there. If we take a look at our radar right now, we can see we're really seeing some spotty showers in the area. A lot of these light greens, though, are evaporating before they reach the surface, which is why we're not really seeing much in terms of wet weather here on the ground. But if we take a look at our future radar, as we head throughout the night, not expecting much more in terms of precipitation, although into tomorrow afternoon and evening, could see the chance for thunderstorms increase there. And as we take a look at tonight's lows, we can see temperatures are going to be in the low 70s for much of the region. If you're lucky, in places like Thomasville, getting down even to 69 degrees, staying a little warmer down the coast at Apalachicola and Carabel, and even at St. Mark's, getting there closer to the mid-70s tonight. And as we head into our day tomorrow, talking about temperatures, in some places the low 80s, getting up towards the mid-80s here in Tallahassee. The threat for afternoon thunderstorms is going to be in effect for us tomorrow. Now tonight here in Tallahassee, talking about temperatures really in the low 70s, should feel pretty nice out there if you do go outside tonight. Partly cloudy conditions, winds will be east at 7 miles per hour. Now, if we head into tomorrow's forecast, we're going to be seeing temperatures, again, like I said before, in the mid-80s. The chance for afternoon thunderstorms does increase as we head throughout the day. Winds will be pretty light there at east-southeast. Now, let's take a look at your week ahead here. As we head into tomorrow and Saturday, we do have the chance at seeing some thunderstorms in the afternoon there, a 60% chance for each of those days. And we're going to see the temperatures across the week really staying in the 80s here. As we head into earlier next week, we get some less cloud cover. Temperatures will be warming up into the mid-80s, but luckily we will be staying dry there. Do have the chance, though, at seeing some precipitation return to our forecast at the end, or the middle, I should say, of next week. Now let's hand it over to Robert at the desk.
Thank you, Riley, for that forecast. So right now we're going to talk about the wildfires. I know we've been hearing a lot about them in the news, about the record-setting nature of many of these California fires, but let's first discuss why they're happening. So basically, for a wildfire, you need three main ingredients. You have dry conditions, you have heat, and you have oxygen. So right now in the West, particularly in states like Colorado and California, we have record-setting levels of drought. And right now, 40 million people are under some level of drought out in the West right now. So that takes care of your dry conditions. It's quite hot out there. It's been quite hot for a while. And also, of course, we have oxygen freely available in the air, of course. So those take care of the main three factors for wildfires. So, and then, of course, you need a spark, because you have those three conditions, but you need something to actually initiate the wildfire. So you can have lightning, or as you've heard probably in recent events, something like a human-caused activity like a gender reveal party. So, some activities might not exactly be of the meteorological nature to start a wildfire. Record-setting fires, though, there are some in California, but we'll first talk about one in Colorado, the Cameron Peak Fire. Right now, the state of Colorado is 100% under drought conditions, so it's pretty not surprising that this fire has gone so out of control there. It is right now 50% contained, but 206 acres have been burned since August 13th, and it is still burning right now. It is now the largest fire to have ever burned in Colorado, surpassing the Pine Bluff fire, which is 139,000 acres. So this is a very large wildfire out there in Colorado. In California, though, as I'm sure most of you guys have heard, 5 out of 6 of the largest wildfires in state history have burned during this year, including the August Complex Fire, which is right now the largest fire in history, the first fire to cross 1 million acres, right now almost as large as the state of Delaware. So these are pretty large fires out west, but we are going to toss it off to Hayden to talk about our national conditions.
Yes, California definitely is having a rough time, but not everywhere in the area can have those conditions. So looking out by our areas in the west, excuse my mask, it's kind of see-through, I guess it happens. So we have a dry front and we have very dry air over by California and Colorado with that strong front, so that won't help our condition. But looking out over Chicago and Minneapolis, what's this white? This is snow blanking the area, and even some severe thunderstorms in Iowa that we'll talk about. So that's all coming up on our national radar. And then down in the southeast, of course, we have some of those pop-up showers, but nothing too severe coming into our area. So taking a closer examination down in Miami, this area is actually under a flash flood watch, and West Palm Beach is actually under a stream advisory just because of all the heavy rain in the area with just some light showers up in northern Florida. But South Florida really has got the onslaught of everything that we're seeing. And then looking in on Texas, some showers up by I-10 and Corpus Christi, but overall, nothing too bad. And then this is our big story of the day, that cold air, all May winter knocking on the door. Aberdeen, South Dakota, heavy snow. Minneapolis is kind of on that transition zone. And as we progress into the warmer sector up before this cold front, you can see some lightning towards the Green Bay. So we're definitely getting we're getting a very dynamic system. If you look at this pink color indicates icing. And so we're just on the edge of thunderstorms coming to the area, transitioning into snow, and it is quite active to say the least. And once again, zooming in on Green Bay, if you're going lake activities, definitely a lot of thunderstorms in the area that you have to contend with. And we also have a marginal risk for severe weather. I think that's coming up on the next slide. So you can really see some of these thunderstorms start to initiate over towards Waterloo and Iowa City. This will all be ramping up through the night. And then this is our slight risk we were talking about. There's all this area in yellow. So our main threats right now, there's going to be some hail. We're seeing some elevated thunderstorms above this cold pocket. So ice is likely to reach the surface in form of hail, damaging winds, of course, and possibly a chance of a tornado. But as of right now, that is not the threat we're focused on. And then this was a heavy snow. I was talking about blanketing the South Dakota area. Look at that pretty cool graphic right there. That pretty much sums it up for our folks in the northern plains. So this is a game that goes back to our senior class from last year. We like to play, let's spot the cold front. Can you see it? Yep, right there. Look at that contrast. Going from that green and blue, transiting to that red. As a matter of fact, look at that temperature. Kansas City, 85. Minneapolis, 35. And so this is that cold front blanketing our nation across the central, really separating that warm air from that cold polar air. And this will become more pronounced later on in the season. The southeast staying very warm, 86. San Antonio, 89. It's staying warm out west also, which is kind of feeling that wildfire risk. So same thing with the dew points. Our front is separating that very cold polar air from that warm conditions. And our east coast all the way up from Miami up into DC into mid-60s. So it is very moist for this time of the year, especially on our east coast. So our front will continue to progress, bringing very heavy rain into the central plains. Snow will blanket Minneapolis, and you'll start to get some heavier snow up in Billings. And so for tonight's lows, like I said, ahead of that cold front, nothing to worry about. 50s and 60s all the way up into New England. And then as we transition behind the cold front, that's when we're going to start to see very cold temperatures in the 20s. And the same thing for tomorrow's highs as that cold front plunges south and east. 40s in the mid-plains, 70s and 80s on the east coast, and warm on the west coast. So now we're going to bring it off to our next segment.
Yeah, well, we are talking about a lot of cold weather for our friends up north. And something they might be looking forward to is some warm weather. It might be a long time for them to get it in their location, but one place you can find it will be down here in the Sunshine State. Temperatures across the state of Florida today, we're talking about high 70s on the east coast of Florida. Everywhere else reaching up into the 80s. Right now we're talking about Tallahassee clocking in at 86 degrees. That is the warmest place in the state right now. Now, dew points, we like to think of the atmosphere as a fluid. So speaking of fluids, you know, we're talking about very thick air. So rather than a chicken soup kind of atmosphere, we're dealing with pea soup down here. A lot of 70s and upper 60s here on the board. That is really indicating it feels very muggy out there. If you step outside in Florida, you'll know what I mean. Now, if we are taking a look at our radar right now, we have spotty showers across the state. I mean, it's a sunshine state, but you guys are probably asking for the rain to go away here. Luckily, not too much steady rain, but we are still talking about some showers across the area here in portions of South Georgia and the northern panhandle. Having some showers moving through our region today. Some of this is evaporating before it hits the ground, so we're not too wet at the surface, as I said before. But in other areas, like portions of southeastern Florida, specifically between West Palm Beach and Port St. Lucia right now, we are seeing some heavier showers and storms moving through the area. This is somewhere that has seen a lot of rain over the past couple days. Now, South Florida looks like we are clearing out here in places like Miami, just seeing some cloud cover. And if we head towards our future radar, we could see a lot of these storms start to move over the eastern Gulf, clearing out rain-wise for portions of Florida as we head into tomorrow afternoon. Portions of North Florida could be seeing some precipitation come our way. Now, if we take a look at tomorrow's high temperatures, we are talking about temperatures in the 80s across the board here, clocking in at 87 in Fort Myers. Scattered chance of storms, across the state of Florida, except for portions of southeastern Florida, Miami and West Palm Beach, seeing temperatures there, not only in the mid-80s, but dry conditions as well. A lot of people in this state are looking forward for that. Now, we do want to hand things off now to David, who will have our next weather segment.
Thank you, Riley. Yes, this is warm temperatures for Florida, and I think they're going to continue for a little bit longer. We're currently here in Tallahassee. It is 86 degrees under partly cloudy skies. And we have an east wind at 10 miles per hour. And you look out over Doak Campbell Stadium, there is a cumulus cloud trying to build here, but it has not been rainy today like it was yesterday afternoon. Hour by hour, you see that we started off at about 72 degrees and slowly climbed up to 80 by 12 p.m. and then we reached up to 86 degrees and even 87 degrees. So it was warm out, but it didn't really feel like it was that kind of temperature, at least to me. So it was really kind of a comfortable, nice warm day. Current temperatures around the Big Bend area range from 83 degrees down here in Apalachicola, 82 degrees up here in Thomasville, and 83 in Donaldsonville. So temperatures are pretty much in the low to mid 80s depending on where you're at and any kind of cloud cover that you might have. It is humid out there. We have dew points 72 in Madison, St. Mark's is 70. So the dew points are up there, but I think the wind helps a little bit to make things feel a little bit cooler when you're outside going for a walk or working in the yard. And on the radar you can see that there's not very much shower activity. Currently, a lot of this is drying up before it hits the ground, like Riley was mentioning on the last segment, and they'll pretty much be this way for the rest of the evening, and tonight shouldn't be too much shower activity around. But when we look around the rest of the state, you can see there is a lot more shower activity as we go further south, the Daytona, Orlando area, and down into So tonight in Tallahassee, you can expect a low of 70 degrees under partly cloudy skies, and yeah, with the east wind at 7 miles per hour. And tomorrow's high is about 84 degrees with afternoon thunderstorms and southeast winds at 5 miles per hour. And the week ahead, you can see that things are on the rainy side for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but then the chances of rain go down for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday next week with mild temperatures in the mid-80s. And we're going to talk a little bit more about the snow in the Northeast. Let me fix my microphone. Sorry about the technical difficulties. Kind of crazy. All right, I believe I got my microphone on. Okay, good. Yeah, so I'm going to talk more about the snow in South Dakota and Minnesota area, where there are winter storm warnings until 7 p.m. in South Dakota, areas of South Dakota, and then till 11 p.m. Central Time in Minnesota. And Minnesota, parts of Minnesota, central Minnesota, they have picked up 4 to 8 inches of snow and are expecting probably another 1 to 2 inches in that area, but in parts of central and northeast South Dakota, get that right, there's north and south in there, they're expecting another 4 to 8 inches of heavy snow over the next couple hours. But eventually that will clear out of there, and they'll have some clearing skies as time goes by. There is a lot of rain in the Great Lakes, upper part of Michigan has a lot of rain, and around Green Bay, they're getting dumped on with rain. Not cold enough for snow, but there is a lot of rain. So winter is making its way into the United States and making itself known. So over the next couple months, that snow will get a lot heavier, and will continue to be, winter will make itself known. I'm going to hand things off now to Robert, who's going to talk about the tropics.
Thank you for that, David. So right now at FSU Weather Hurricane Center, we are watching Hurricane Epsilon right now, which is actually a major hurricane last night. It has weakened just a little bit because it's hitting a lot of cold water and some shear. You can see we're going through the Greek alphabet now. This is already a very, very active season. Could be record-setting if we go all the way to Zeta. That was where we got to back in 2005, the only other time we've ever gotten to the Greek alphabet. But right now you can see we are Epsilon, so we will need at least one more storm to tie that record. Right now, looking at Epsilon, you can see it is out there in the Atlantic. It is spinning out there. You can see it's weakening just a little bit on the IR satellite. That shows you where the cloud tops are, where most of the convection is. You can see that some dry air is coming into that storm and sort of causing it to weaken a little bit. We're also watching an area down here for maybe a little bit of formation coming into the next week. We got a 10% chance in 2 days and a 30% chance of formation in 5. So we'll have to watch this, but it's fairly disorganized at the moment, so nothing to worry about at the moment. Looking at, you can see this area that we're watching right now, 30%. It's going to be mostly around Cuba and the Bahamas, so you are going to need to watch the area in the next few weeks. Maybe see a tropical depression pop up in the next few days. And watching this area specifically down here, you can see this area of convection is starting to just organize just a tad a little bit, but it is still fairly disorganized compared to Epsilon. Looking out towards the broader picture, you can see that we, of course, do have Hurricane Epsilon up here, Category 2 initially when we started this broadcast, but now is now Category 1. It's weakening a little bit because it's hitting these conditions. You can see down here, particularly hitting some shear right here with down the hurricane. You can see it is right now 85 miles per hour pressure, 968 millibars, so still a fairly strong tropical cyclone, but a Category 1 hurricane, not a major hurricane anymore. That is probably good news for the Bahamas because they are under a tropical storm warning right now, not a hurricane warning because Epsilon is not going to bring hurricane conditions that far out. And watching, of course, near Cuba, you can see this convection down here is that's what we're watching, but it is not going to be that troubling for them right now because, of course, it is still fairly disorganized. And watching this mid-level spin here is what we're watching to see where this could organize. You can see we're watching a little bit down here where we are watching for the potential formation of maybe Zeta, we'll see. It depends how strong it gets, if it gets up to a tropical storm level. But again, we're watching this spin down here, this vorticity, to see if we could have the generation of a tropical cyclone. But again, right now, as I'm saying, it is fairly disorganized, so we've only got a 10% chance within the next 2 days and 30% in 5. Future radar, you can see Epsilon just sitting out there in the Atlantic. It's not going to weaken just a little bit, but it is going to remain hurricane status for a while. And you can see down here by Cuba, we are watching this shower and storm activity for potential generation of a tropical storm. And that is it for our Hurricane Center tonight. I'm going to pass things off to Hayden.
Yes, no hurricane here, and no hurricanes in Florida in general. I hope I didn't jinx it. I think it should be okay. Right now, 10 miles per hour, pretty light winds relative to that big storm out in the Atlantic. And you can start to see that sun, behind our graphic here, the sun is setting. And it's starting to get some nice pinks and nice colors out, and that's only going to get better. So I recommend driving by and looking at that sunset. So we started off seasonally warm in the 70s, which is definitely above average. And that trend continued going through the afternoon, peaking at 5 p.m. with a high of 87. Definitely not what we want to be seeing right now, but that is the weather, so we'll have to deal with that. So over in Panama City, some slight showers picking up on radar. These look like they might be reaching the ground. And then coming over into our area, into Jacksonville, some showers, but nothing too heavy. And for our area, we expect drier conditions. But Central Florida being the exception, towards, let's just say, West Palm Beach, Orlando, those are areas where we are anticipating some heavier rain. For us, nothing to worry about for today. But tomorrow, you can kind of see that moisture starts to come back into the area. And then looking even further ahead into Saturday, it looks like there will be some rain and some thunderstorms that we'll have to contend with for sure. But nothing overall you can't handle, especially if you're here for our Tallahassee summers. This will be much less than what we see in there. So for tomorrow, highs will be in the mid-80s, lower 80s towards our Gulf Coast and maybe some slight sea breeze. And then same thing up in Georgia. with those afternoon PM thunderstorms, nothing too heavy that I would expect. So for our dog walk forecast, if you want to do your dog out for a park, it looks pretty good. I recommend going at 9 a.m. when it's 72 and no rain versus 3 p.m. when it's a little bit warmer and thunderstorms are likely. So for our forecast, we're going up to Louisville, Kentucky for the FSU game, 12 o'clock Saturday. We are going to be behind that cold front, so we'll be a bit chilly at kickoff, 52 degrees for our Noles, who are probably some warmer weather as we are. And then at 3:30, warm up slightly into the upper 50s. So overall, I'll give it a B+ on our forecast for the football game, and hopefully our performance is going to be an A+. So for the week ahead, we'll continue to stay in the mid-80s, with the rain dropping off as we get later on into the week. And Wednesday and Thursday, we'll also start to introduce a bit of rain chance into the area. Overall, pretty good weather. So now we're going to pass it off to Riley for our closing desk.
Well, thank you very much, Hayden. And let's take a last look here at that 5-day forecast, as you just said. And if we could see next to me here, we're talking about temperatures staying in the 80s over the next 7 days. So as we close out October, expect the hot weather to continue. Lows not even getting that chilly either. Lowest low will be in the mid-60s. So definitely looking at a very hot end to October. So we're going to have to wait a little longer for that cold front to move into our area to dip us down into the 70s. But there are some signs showing the beginning of November, long range, that might be something that we do see. So you can hold on to your hope there. But there are definitely a lot of people across the country that would take this weather. I mean, growing up in New Jersey myself, this is the time of year I started to miss those summer days. And definitely it's something that we're going to be seeing here in Florida for some time to come. So one thing I do want to mention, though, with the cold weather up towards the northern areas of the country right now, the wildfires in Colorado might be impacted by some snow, actually, and that will be, as we head over the next couple days, a lot of heavy snow. It'll be interesting to see exactly how that snow does affect portions of Colorado. Now, if you want to follow us on Twitter, follow us at FSU Weather. Like us on Facebook, that is also /FSU Weather there. And watch us live on YouTube like you probably are right now, /FSU Weather. And follow us on Instagram at FSU Weather. So not too hard to find our social media. It's right below me if you want to see what you're looking for. So I do want to thank you so much for joining us here on FSU Weather today, Thursday edition. Signing off, it's student